Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what, well, you don't know what time it is. It's not the Wolves versus Chelsea preview. I don't really think you can do a preview on a game like this. There's players, catching the disease. There's apparently 2 more players that have caught it. So we have no idea really who can play this game, who is available at this point. Those 2 players are not identified as of yet. We've got a truckload of players missing, doubts, injuries, again, more players isolating. So you can't really, pick a team for this game, in my opinion. You can try, but I'm not going to try because I feel like there's just not enough players available. There's not enough information on the table. So it's just a guessing game at this point. But what I want to talk about is just the mood going into this game. I feel like as much as we're disappointed with the current form, I am myself as well going to the game against Everton. We need to remember we are 4 points off the top. We also need to remember that this season was about competing and being up there, not about winning. Winning is not a guaranteed right in this league. You can definitely try to win it, you can compete, but it's not a guarantee. And we're obviously coming into Tuchel's first full season as a manager at Chelsea. Have Klopp and Pep gone and won the title in their first full season? You can go and check it. They haven't. So I feel like we do need to rein it in a little bit. I've seen a lot of really over-the-top opinions on Thomas Tuchel in the last couple of days on social media. Let I remind you again, this guy is kind of working with his hands tied behind his back at times. There's a lot of players missing, which we're going to go through in a minute. Again, he's only had 1 transfer window, which you can now start to reflect upon it and say, was he really backed as he should have been? Obviously, we did get Lukaku in, but did we go and get that midfielder? Did we go and get that wing back that he needed and asked for in his request? So, we need to understand that the manager has got the system in place. And for me personally, I've gone through it many a time. I think the system is catered to hide the flaws and show the strengths of the team. And when you don't have a true left back fit and available, because only Alonso and Sal are playing out there, neither of which are left backs. When you don't have a 6 outside Jorginho, and then you don't have the mobility of Kante, it's very hard to switch to a back 4 and expect the team not to be wide open like it was under Lampard in the last few months of his tenure, and not be cut through. There's a lot of key pieces missing in the jigsaw puzzle for us to move to that back 4, in my opinion, and still be structurally assured. And that's what this team is built upon, because those forwards are not clinical, because those forwards last season without Lukaku weren't putting the ball in the back of the net with their conversion rate. And if you look at each individual attacker in our team, we can't even really say they have a history of putting the ball in the back of the net consistently. Werner, yes, he had a great season, that 1 season at Leipzig. Before that, it wasn't a consistent goal output that he was given. Kai, again, second half of the season type guy. Pulisic, injury prone. Mason Mount getting there slowly, but not a 20 goals a season man by any stretch of the imagination. Same with Hakim Ziyech, inconsistent with his goal output. 27 up until making that big move to Chelsea now from Ajax. So it's not like as if our forwards are the Diego Costas of this world. Outside of Lukaku for me is a player I'm going to get onto in a minute. That is the guaranteed goal output. That is the guy that Thomas Tuchel got in the transfer window, and that is the guy that we do still need to get the best out of. But going into game against Wolves, I'm very worried. If I'm making my personal prediction, I'm going with a draw, even though of course we have to win. But if you just look at Wolves recently, I know they've probably got players missing, as do we. But the win against the defeat against Liverpool, the defeat against City, they hang in there and keep those 2 teams to 1-0, even with 10 men in one of those games. And you can tell that this is a Wolves team that are resilient. We don't have a great record. I do have PTSD from the Neto goal, late winner against Lampard's Chelsea a year ago, around this time of the year as well. It was a rough game. I do remember doing the review for that and heading outside for a breather after full time because it was just a madness. So, we're going into a game here that is extremely, extremely difficult, and we do need to remember that. On top of that as well, of course, the players that are missing now, Ruben is a doubt, Jorginho is a doubt. Kova is going to be coming back early. I wouldn't expect a mad performance from him again. We're rushing him back. We're rushing Kante back. It's just at this point, Tuchel, you can't really complain with his starting 11s. He's really just playing who he's got left. I think his substitutions, maybe some people are starting to question against Everton. You could say, why did he bring Saul and Barkley on? But you take a look at that bench and those were the most attacking options he had. To maybe put Saul in a front line was strange. didn't really make much sense in that Pulisic at left wing back. I completely understand that criticism, and I would agree with that as well. I thought Ruben, was very safe in that game as well against Everton. No real long pass attempts, no real dribbles, no real crosses from him, just very safe play from him. And obviously that's one of the reasons why he was then hooked. The front three, again, finishing not good enough. We've spoken about it numerous times this season. And this is why I don't get at the system, because Chelsea have a system in place that is creating chances, is dominating football matches against Manchester United, against Burnley at home, and now against Everton at home. And if you take a look at our home record, it is these games that we're dropping points. And the same, maybe goes for the Arsenal game last season as well at home, and a few others. So, we as a team, Brighton is another one. I know it was after the Super League. So we as a team, we struggle, to put the ball in the back of the net consistently. And when you're creating 5 big chances in a game against Everton, if you take a look at that City team, they're putting the ball in the back of the net. That Liverpool team, they're clinical. And even still, they're not breaking open, their defences with pretty passing play every single time. A lot of their goals are coming from shots that are saved by the goalkeeper, and then, retaliations from a Salah, on a fumble from a goalkeeper, or a Kevin De Bruyne long shot, with his left foot. Again, that's not coming with our team. A near post strike, that's not coming with our team. That's the kind of shooting accuracy that we're lacking, even just to get these shots on target. Like I just said, with these shots on target, these long distance shots, if we had more of those kind of players in the team, then the keepers would have to fumble it, and any runners running in would be able to get goals as well. There's so many different varieties of and types of ways of getting goals, and just passing a team off the pitch is it's not feasible every single time. You do need to have other weapons, set pieces, long shots, and on top of that, do we have many players that you could say are ridiculous in terms of their passing range, in terms of incisive passing, cutting open defenses? Do we have that Cesc Fabregas? Do we have that Kevin De Bruyne? Do we have that Juan Mata? No, we don't. So I sympathise a lot with Thomas Tuchel. I think he's been unlucky recently. Yes, there are a few moments, like I said, with tactically and maybe not even really tactically, but maybe substitutions you could say, could be better. But I don't think he's hampering the team with this system. And going forward, there's just a few things that I would like to see. I would love to see Harvey Vale, if there is an opportunity to give him the test. I know there is a test daily for the players now. The Premier League have confirmed that they have to have a test before they go into training. If there is a way to get Harvey Vale out of that under-23 bubble and into the first team bubble again with a negative test, for me, he needs to be looked at now. That's down to Tuchel to be brave, in my opinion, and try a Harvey Vale. You're not losing anything. We've tried Saul Niguez now multiple times, midfield, left wing back. It's not working. He had an awful performance when he came on. It was at fault for the goal with marking and not really getting the header away. Kind of mistimed his jump potentially, and then he shanked across into an innocent family in the stands who are now in A&E. So for me, it's like, what are we really losing here by trying Harvey Vale? I remember Tariq Lamptey bursting onto the stage against Arsenal under Lampard. Great performance, gets his move to Brighton. Gilmour bursting onto the stage against Sheffield United, albeit we drew that game. Nothing to do with Gilmour, by the way. But again, goes on to have a very, looks like a very promising career, and is now doing very well. And I think Harvey Vale is in the same boat. He's a very talented guy. Yes, it is a risk. Yes, he doesn't have any first team experience, but we've seen Tino Livramento come from Cobham, go into that Southampton team, bang, lights it up. And I think we forget sometimes some of these Cobham boys are built for first team football. That's what they're prepared for. That's what they're built to do. And yes, he's going to make errors. Yes, he's going to make a mistake, I'm sure. But he's talented, he's technical, he's going to be hungry and determined to prove himself. And I just need this team to have a bit of life and energy. When those two came on off the bench, Barkley and Saul, I was saddened. I was like, that's it. Like, that doesn't make me feel enthusiastic. That doesn't make me feel hopeful. And I don't feel like, honestly, the players on that pitch, when they see those two coming on, is really going to, light a firecracker up their arse either. You need something different, something energetic. And Manchester City, they've used Palmer, Liverpool using Elliott against us at Anfield. Yes, we've used more academy players in these teams, and we're clear in that regard. But let's take another risk, in my opinion. And that's the one player that I'm looking at, and I'm thinking to myself, can we get him on the bench? And if we need someone to come on, bring him on, and let's see what he can do. He plays in attacking midfield. He's played left wing back at time as well for the academy. Yes, he's not really a central midfielder, but maybe he could do that advanced role. I've just spoke about Loftus-Cheek and playing it safe and not getting into that second phase, dribbling past players against Everton, taking players on, creating opportunities. Didn't really do any of that against Everton. So again, what do we have to lose? He's not in the greatest run of form. Sal has been awful, like I said. And Barkley, for me, I've been saying it on this channel, I just don't think he's a Chelsea player. He's not a Chelsea level player. Even as a depth player, I just think we can do better with the academy. So, that's my thoughts currently going into this Wolves game. I'm not going to pick a team. I'm not even, score prediction, I'm going with a draw at the moment, but, again, I wouldn't be surprised if we lost. I wouldn't be surprised if we won. At the moment, we're playing our games. A lot of teams aren't. There's a lot of games cancelled today, as you can see. So it's interesting. It's going to be an interesting one, but, we do need to get to January. We do need to try and keep this points gap to the top, not let it get any larger, and then go again in the window and hopefully make a couple of signings and try and boost the midfield and the left wing back position. Forwards wise, for me, getting the best out of Lukaku, which will be my final point in this video, I just feel like, even for the brief 5 minutes I saw at the start of the Zenit game, he looked more dangerous in that two-striker system in the right channel. Against Arsenal, similar, playing in a two-striker system with Kai Havertz on the left-hand side of that partnership and dropping in deep. I think, when you look at Lukaku, we've tried to use him as a focal point too often. We've tried to put him as the target man up front. Let's put him in the right channel. Let's put him in a two-striker system with Mason Mount in the 10. Let's get him running in between the left back and the left side centre-back. Let's get him turning people and running at them, and let's not play through him all the time and bring Kai into it a little bit on that left-hand side, because I feel like, we like Kai as a focal point in terms of his fluidity and the way he links up play, but also we can't rely upon him for goals, so maybe mesh the two together. And I think Kai technically is obviously a lot better than Werner, just in general play, which is why I'd probably go with him, over Werner at this point. How Ziyech and Hudson-Odoi and these guys fit in, again, I've been saying it, I feel like Hudson-Odoi with Lukaku is something I want to see at some point. When he was in the team, we was going on a really good run of games. We were creating opportunities at free will. Yes, goals and assists wise, he wasn't stacking up a madness, but if you look at his metrics in every other department, he was doing very well before that Manchester United game. And again, it's about bringing fluidity into the team. I can understand why Tuchel's taking him out, potentially because of Alonso coming into the team. Again, that fluidity of Callum's cut off, and that might mess his game up if he's playing with Alonso. He did switch him against Malmo and put Ziyech on that left-hand side in the second half of that game to get the goal. So that is the one understanding point I'm getting from maybe Callum not playing at the moment. But even still, that's why I'm saying look at Harvey Vale, man. Let's get some fluidity into the team. You never know what can happen. These kids can surprise you. So listen, people, it's not really a preview, just more of a discussion on certain things that I'm feeling at the moment. But keep your heads up. Long way to go this season. And like I said, we're here to compete. And this is only Tuchel's first season. Back the man, man. This is our opportunity for some longevity. And we've got Champions League, we've got FA Cup, we've got League Cup, Club World Cup. It's not the end of the world. In a bit, people. Peace.